Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give you a rundown of all the components I have and justify why I've chosen them as well. So let's start with the CPU, right? I have a Core i5 9400F, socket LGA 1151. I went for Core i5. This is a mining rig, by the way. So this is massive overkill for Core for the mining rig. However, I genuinely couldn't find anything else when I was looking, and this was the cheapest, most sensible one I could find. There was a Core i3 9100F, so slightly slower processor. It was £4 more than this, so it didn't make sense to get that one. This also comes with a cooler as well. This is a stock cooler. I don't think I need anything more than that for a mining rig because the CPU is barely going to be utilized. So that's the processor I've chosen, and that's the reason why I chose this processor as well. Another reason actually is at some point in time, mining might not be the only thing that this PC might be used for. So to ensure that it can be repurposed for something else, I went with an i5. So a couple of reasons there. That's it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to speak about is the motherboard. And this is a Gigabyte Z390D. One of the main reasons, well, a couple of reasons why I chose this one. It was about £100. Plus it has three, if you can see it here anyway, I'll try and zoom in if it's possible. I've got three full-size PCI Express slots. And because I'm going to be using three 3060s, you guys should probably know about the RTX 3060 hack that NVIDIA themselves released a couple days or a week ago. So that's one of the reasons I went for this motherboard. And it's very cheap. It was £100 and it does everything I need to do. Okay? All right, so next I'm going to look at two things at once. Well, three. Let's make it three. I'm going to look at the SSD. I've gone for a basic 120GB PNY SATA SSD. That's it. Very simple, very basic. I'm only going to have Windows on it, Windows 10 on here, the drivers necessary, and the programs necessary for mining. So very bog standard, very basic. Don't need anything more than this. Right? I've gone for DDR4 RAM, 8GB, a single stick, because again, this isn't going to be a performance heavy. I've gone for speeds 2066 megahertz, decent speeds, decent price. This was roughly 30-ish pounds for 8GB. That's one of the reasons I went for this. I've got Arctic MX4 thermal compound, cheap, does the job well. You don't have to faff around with it. I definitely don't want to do water cooling. Unnecessary overkill for a mining system. So yeah, those are my reasons for choosing those components. Let's look at the next thing. All right, so I guess the star of the show, these are just SATA cables, by the way. These are data SATA cables. One of them works and the other one doesn't. I don't remember which one it is, so that's why I took both of them out. Here, I have a pallet RTX 3060. This is a 12GB model. And the reason I've gone for this in mining is that a couple of days before I bought this, NVIDIA released driver 470.5, I believe, which actually unlocked the Ethereum hashing block that they put in themselves. So this is a big hope, but hopefully everything works fine. There are no issues and I can mine on this. But even if it's not Ethereum, there are other coins I can mine. And this was the cheapest one. I didn't go for the 3070 because it was almost £1,000. So I went for this instead. I've got three of these. This is the first one. That's the second one there. And this is the third one, slightly bigger. I think this is the dual fan model. So yeah, these are my graphics cards here. The main part of the system, obviously, for mining. And last but not least, we're going to speak about the actual power supply. So I've gone for a Corsair 1000 watt gold power supply. Reason being, as some of you might or might not know, gold is about, let's just say 80%, right? So a 1000 watt power supply is actually going to give me possibly at best 800 watts. So with each of my graphics cards, my motherboard, my CPU, RAM and everything, they're going to add up to about, I think when I did the maths on it, about 500-600, right? So it wouldn't make sense for me to get an 800 one and not give myself some headroom, because at some point, this motherboard does have 3 more PCI slots. So at some point, I do want to add more graphics cards, right? And potentially swap these out for 3070s when they become cheaper, or just add 3070s to the system. So having a power supply that could potentially give me enough power to drop in another card here and there makes perfect sense. So 1,000 watt power supply makes sense. I was looking at getting a server power supply. However, the only ones I could find here in the UK were not from well-known reputable resellers, and ordering from America is just going to take a really long time. Same thing from Europe as well. This whole Brexit thing has made ordering stuff from Europe a bit more tricky and potentially a bit more pricey. So I've avoided that and gone for a simple ATX Corsair 1,000 watt power supply. By the way, this is the RM 1000X. Okay? Alright, so for my bits and pieces now, I have just some box standard screwdriver set I got from a supermarket once. This should be more than enough for building a PC like this. I have my iFixit kit actually. I got one of those a couple years ago. I have my two SATA cables. As I said, one of these don't work. I don't remember which one doesn't work, so I'll try both of them and see. I have, these are quite important for the hack. For the 3060 hack, based on the information I read, everyone is saying that you need to have a closed loop on the graphics card. For example, the graphics card needs to think that it's plugged into a monitor. And that's one of the caveats that would actually work for the hack. Because NVIDIA has ensured or tried to ensure that people who want to do mining didn't get the card, only people who want to do gaming. So there's essentially a circuit that goes from the graphics card around to the monitor and back to the graphics card. And this HDMI tricking device will trick the graphics card into thinking it's plugged into a monitor. Now, only one of them needs to be plugged into a monitor. So the other two are going to be left there. And these are going to be used on them to make sure that they think that they're plugged in. So I can hopefully, with the hack, with the right drivers, potentially with the right BIOS mod, get the full power and potentially potentially get hashing of 40 to 45 megahash for Ethereum and whatever else there is. I'll do one of mine. That's another thing there. I have my case actually. So this was just one of the box standard cases I bought from eBay. This was 50 something pounds. Not the most sturdy thing in the world, I've realized, but it does fit a full ATX motherboard. And that's why I have this random piece of wood here, because at some point when I finish building, I'm going to put this onto the board, and rather than lifting with the case, I lift with the base of the board instead. So I never move the frame of the case any more than I need to. That's it. I don't think there's anything. Oh, there is a power switch that actually came with the case, which is quite handy actually. There is one last thing I almost forget to mention. So here we have a Belkin surge protector. And I went for Belkin because on their Amazon page listing description, it said that they will cover you up to, I believe this one was 15 or 20,000 pounds for anything that's damaged if correctly connected to this. Which means that if something happens and the mining rig gets burnt out or destroyed by some surge, Belkin will actually compensate me. And when I saw that, it was a no-brainer. This is a 4-gang, 2-meter, 525 joule surge protector. That's it, nothing more than that. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and unbox all of these things and then start building the machine straight away.